Reporter Ken, as we are digesting the breaking news here related to George Papadopoulos, as we are looking at the 31-page indictment against Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. I know, along with our team, Tom Winter and others, have been doing a lot of discussion on Paul Manafort's business ties to Russia here. Walk us through some of the reporting.
Well, that's what I think is really important to emphasize here, Hallie, and I know you've done this reporting as well during the campaign, is that it's not like this indictment is revealing for the first time that Paul Manafort had links to this Ukrainian Russian-backed political party. That was known. We reported on it, others reported on it, and there are other links between Paul Manafort and Russian oligarchs.
And Ken, before you get into it, let me just set this up with a tweet now from the president, our first reaction now from Donald Trump related to all of this. Coming in, of course, a tweet format. He says, sorry, but this is years ago, before Paul Manafort was part of the Trump campaign. But why aren't crooked Hillary and the Dems the focus? With a series of question marks there from President Trump. So this does a couple of things. Number one, it gives us some insight into what we are going to likely hear from Sarah Huckabee Sanders when she takes the podium later on today at 1 o'clock. It is President Trump, as he has done now for weeks, turning the attention back to Democrats, turning the attention to Hillary Clinton, as he calls her Crooked H, and trying to put distance between himself, his campaign, and Paul Manafort by pointing out that this happened prior to Paul Manafort joining the Trump campaign, Ken. And again, we got to point out that while the members of the Trump team may want to distance themselves from Manafort, he was an integral part of campaign 2016. That is just a fact, Ken.
Absolutely. And another fact, Hallie, is that the indictment alleges that the conspiracy here went on through 2017. So it's not something that happened in the past, according to these charges by Robert Mueller. But, I was looking back at the reporting that we did in the summer of 2016 that you were involved in, Hallie, where we interviewed a senior Republican, David Kramer, a former McCain aide, about Paul Manafort's connections to Russia, which he said were deeply disturbing, and he was raising questions at the time about what they said about Donald Trump's position vis-a-vis Russia. So again, this is not new. The issue here, it was known that Paul Manafort and Gates were working for this Ukrainian-backed party. What they did, according to this indictment, was conceal the fact that they were lobbying in the United States. And then they also, apparently, according to this indictment, didn't want to pay taxes on their millions, and so they laundered the money through offshore bank accounts and evaded taxes. And this indictment says that $75 million went through offshore bank accounts, and it alleges that Paul Manafort laundered $18 million. So that's the issue here. And the other point is, for those who want to say that this isn't about Russia, the Ukrainian politician they were representing was a Russian-backed politician.
Right.
He was opposing the forces that wanted to bring Ukraine into the U.S. NATO orbit. He was the Putin guy, and when he was ousted from power, he fled to Moscow, where he lives today, as far as we know, Hallie.